Welcome to another episode of Let's Talk About Clutter. I'm your host, Margo Staten, a professional organizer specializing in toxic clutter. And today we're diving into the topic of decluttering paralysis. It's something so many of us experience, yet it can feel overwhelming and isolating. But don't worry, I am here to break it down and help you move past it. So, what is decluttering paralysis? Decluttering paralysis is that stuck feeling when you know you need to declutter but just can't seem to start or finish. It is not laziness. It is a mix of mental and emotional blocks that hold you back. Here are some things that might go through your mind, keeping you in a constant state of overwhelm and clutter. Number one, the just in case mindset. This is so common. You keep things because you might need them someday, even if you haven't used them in years. You're holding on to the charging cable from an old phone, the blender that's catching dust, the handful of beauty products that aren't good for your skin. Next, we encounter something called decision fatigue. Especially if you suffer from ADHD, it can be very challenging to make a decision. And knowing you have to make so many can cause you to just freeze. Every item requires a decision. Keep, toss, donate. It's exhausting. You're overthinking every item and what to do with it. And no one wants to go into anything feeling this way. Next one is a big one. Maybe you're somebody who experiences a lot of guilt. You feel bad about getting rid of gifts, expensive items, or things tied to specific memories. I can't tell you how many times I've heard my clients say, I can't get rid of that ugly candle set my mother-in-law gave me. What if she stops by and asks to see it? Okay, most likely that won't happen. And even if it does, just tell her you can't remember where you put it. I myself have experienced a tough time letting go of a face cream that I spent way too much on because it just does not work on my skin. Ask yourself, what is it costing you mentally to hold on to the item? Why keep something that is a constant reminder of the money you threw away? I promise you that if you just donate it, give it to a friend, whatever, in a week's time, you will forget all about it. The next one is something called sentimental overload. Are you someone who maybe attaches meaning to too many items in your home? Now, I want to be clear here. There is nothing wrong with being sentimental and holding on to a few items from, maybe a loved one you've lost, or treasuring items that make you feel good. I myself have kept a few items from my childhood. The issue here is that it feels like every other item is sentimental. You are keeping 100 travel magnets, old college textbooks, clothing you no longer wear or fit into. You should work towards a memory box, not a memory room. Another very common reason that we experience decluttering paralysis is just sheer overwhelm. There is so much clutter, you don't even know where to start. This is something that happens to most of us, especially if we have been accruing clutter for years. You experience decluttering paralysis at the sheer thought of purging. Where do I start? How do I do it? What if I make a mistake? The volume of stuff prevents you from even starting. And don't worry, this is 100% of my clients, and there is a cure for this. So now let's talk about solutions. How do we fix our decluttering paralysis? The key to overcoming it is to start small. Think of decluttering as a mental muscle you need to build over time. The more you practice, the stronger and more confident you'll feel. So step one, you want to start with the easy wins. Don't tackle your entire house at once or dive into sentimental items right away. Instead, focus on easier areas. You can toss expired pantry items. You can declutter your sock drawer. You can go through your makeup and throw out anything expired there. If you encounter an item you are not sure about, leave it alone and move on. These quick wins will build your momentum and give you a sense of accomplishment. All right. Step two, you want to break things down. Don't please fight the urge to take in the big picture. Instead, zoom in on one drawer, one cabinet, or one category of items at a time. For example, organize your bathroom toiletries or sort through your Tupperware and recycle mismatched lids. Small, focused tasks are less overwhelming and more manageable. Step 3, you want to set a timer. I cannot say this enough. If you are operating without a timer, if you are not setting alarms in your phone to remind you to declutter, this is a huge mistake, because oftentimes when we are new to any habit, right? But if you're new to decluttering, again, this is not a habit just yet. So you will forget, you will procrastinate, you will find other things that you should be doing. Setting alarms and setting timers in your phone is super duper important. So when it comes to setting a timer, you want to commit to just 10 to 15 minutes of decluttering. You will be amazed at how much you can accomplish in that time. And often you will find yourself wanting to keep going. The truth is, when it comes to achieving a clean and tidy, well-organized home, it's less about how much time you spend doing it and more about consistency. Meaning, you're better off decluttering 3 days a week, 15 minutes of focused decluttering, than you are dedicating 2 hours when the mood strikes, which is, maybe once every 3 months. Consistent decluttering in increments compounds. The more you do it, the faster you become at it. The more you build your mental muscle, the easier it becomes letting go. And step 4, you want to celebrate your progress. If you want to fix decluttering paralysis, every small step forward is a victory. We want to focus on positive reinforcement. We want to look at decluttering as something that feels so good, like you're making progress, you're purging, you are doing it. Celebrate decluttering a drawer, clearing off a countertop, or donating a bag of clothing. Progress, not perfection, is the goal. Decluttering paralysis is real, but it doesn't have to hold you back. Start small, stay consistent, and remember, it gets easier the more you do it. And on that note, thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed this episode. As always, good luck on your decluttering journey, and remember to be good to yourself.